Checking into Fox Weather this afternoon, two flash flood emergencies rather, have been issued in Kentucky. This is new video from this morning in Cox Creek, Kentucky. Several roads have been reported flooding. Police, they're urging drivers to stay away from standing or rushing water. Thunderstorms expected to drop several inches more of rain as we continue into today. Look at the water. This more likely, Cox Creek, Kentucky, you think, okay, we've got a creek in the area and it's overwhelming its banks. You see the bridge off into the distance. So the creek more likely kind of running right to left across the screen, and then that water just overflowing. You can see how dangerous this situation has become. The Grigsby Lane, the bridge on Grigsby Lane, there you have it, right above the board. Now you can see where we are here in Cox Creek. So let's get to it because we've got a lot to take into account as we go into the remainder of this afternoon and evening. We've had this kind of train track that has been laid since last night out of southern Illinois and Indiana and straight across the Ohio River into Kentucky. We are now on the I-75 corridor just north of London. Two zones here in eastern Kentucky that have been tagged with the flash flood emergency. The wording here couldn't be any more important, right? Flash flood emergency means that it's a life-threatening situation and you need to make sure that you are getting to higher ground and you are staying away from flooded streets. Unfortunately, we are getting reports now that several homes are seeing standing water in and nearby, roads that have been closed, if not overwhelmed by waters, and we're starting to see some damage in infrastructure coming in from all of this influx of rain. Over the last 6 hours alone, these thunderstorms have moved over the same zones, back building, and we've picked up more than 3 to 5 inches of rain. If you do the math, 6 hours, more than an inch of rain an hour in some of these locations. Up near Richmond, where we do have reports of those flooded roads, and right now also to water coming up to homes, and then also to some utility garages halfway submerged in those flood waters. So that's the infrastructure that's falling into perhaps these creeks and streams, these rivers that roll through these areas, and that water quickly overwhelming. And there comes that dangerous situation. So Richmond, again, a zone where we've seen closer to 5, maybe even 6 or 7 inches of rain in the last 6 hours alone since this morning. And the rain continues to build in as we move into the afternoon. So here's a look at our estimated rain over the course of the last 12 hours. You head up towards, say, southern Indiana, north of the I-64 corridor, about 5 inches of rain there. But then you jump right over the Ohio River, south of Louisville. Look at that 10¼ inch report of rain. That is enough to overwhelm any area. And then as we get closer to the I-75 corridor, you get those pockets of rain closer to 6 inches. And what's still happening is rain's coming down, and now it's just overwhelming the saturated soils, the creeks that are already swelled from rain last night that continue to see that water rise. At least 20 storm reports of flooding in the last 12 hours since we've opened up our Saturday morning, many of which rolling along the southern counties of Indiana and then over into Kentucky, where you think, okay, we've got one big batch of rain pushing off to the east. We've dried things out. We've got our flash flood warnings in effect just off to the south of Louisville, and we're kind of clearing things out, right? The rain has since stopped, and so it's allowing perhaps some of that water to recede, and we see that runoff starting to occur. But you look back to the west on the I-70 corridor just to the south, look at these thunderstorms building out of central Illinois, and then down even further, you head towards the border with Missouri, and we have a severe thunderstorm warning headed towards Paducah, Cape Girardeau. We've been dealing with this over the course of the last hour. These thunderstorms moved through, not only tagged severe warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds, but we already have a flash flood warning in effect. That flash flood warning came as these storms moved in, just within about the last hour. So when we take into account maybe the last 3-hour rainfall, and not a lot has been issued in the Cape Girardeau area. So just that thunderstorm moving through was enough to trigger that flash flood warning in the sense that we are maybe seeing some of that gauge rise on our streams and creeks, and roads just in general become overwhelmed with that flood water, and you see that quick runoff into low-lying areas. There is the threat for more severe storms as we head on into today, so we're not completely done yet with this focus. Big picture, I want to quickly jump up to the northeast. We have a boundary, a stalled front that runs right through this area. So if you're in New York City, Philadelphia, you've been waiting for the rain, it's here, and it's going to stay wet as we head into the middle of our afternoon. While we're not expecting too much of a flood threat up the I-95 corridor, more of a nuisance rain, it's the big picture with this boundary that's stalled across the region, and more importantly, that boundary that's draping into the Appalachians, and we still have some heating of the day to contend with that's going to promote that severe weather threat, damaging wind gusts, and of course just some very heavy rain. Whenever you have a boundary that's draped on through the region, oftentimes it is the storm track that lays one after the next to bring you that repeated risk. So Nashville, we've been upgraded into that level 2 threat, just given the fact that our storm track has laid more so out of Kentucky now into Middle Tennessee. We're heading into the afternoon. We've had some clearing, daytime heat, and that energy is building to help continue to promote that risk for strong to severe thunderstorms. You actually can see that zeroing in where we have our first severe thunderstorm warning of this afternoon just out of Paducah, and look at the energy that's building ahead of it. So that's going to continue to fuel that thunderstorm to promote those damaging wind gusts, and again also feed into that rain rate potential and that flood risk that will continue to grow as these storms move in and perhaps fall down back into that zone and that train track that has been laid pushing down into Kentucky, and then eventually we'll see that continue to work its way down through Middle Tennessee. So it's a really active afternoon so far. This morning it's been wet, and at first maybe you're thinking, okay, it's nuisance rain, it's the start of the weekend, maybe it doesn't last all day. Well, unfortunately, we are seeing this growing trend that it is going to stay with us as we head through this evening, and that risk for that flood risk is definitely beginning to increase. If you look below me, this is Spencer County, Kentucky, just north of Louisville, and you can see what we're dealing with here, right? The flood threat has really started to grow even more considerably as we've moved into the afternoon. Morning rain, and it's still coming down, and the water just overflowing. Look at the rushing nature of that water below me as well. That is the danger here. You don't want to drive through that floodwater because you, one, don't know how deep it is. The integrity of the road, we've gotten reports of some roads that have been washed out because of flooding in our zones where we have our flash flood emergencies in eastern Kentucky, especially up near spots like Richmond on the I-75. That is the danger here that you need to be aware of, and you need to be seeking that higher ground and make sure that you're taking stock of your surroundings. If you live near the stream or the creek, and maybe you're not right up on it, but you're not too far away, know that your neighbors are definitely dealing with perhaps some of that rushing water, and that water getting a little too close for comfort, riding up closer to these homes. A little farther to the south on the I-75 corridor headed towards Livingston, and then that's where we have our next flash flood emergency that was issued closer to Sturgeon. So there's about 5,000 people in this flash flood emergency off to the southeast, closer to State Highway 421. And that's where we have still a very similar risk of washed out roads, more heavy rain that's moving into this zone. This is for Jackson County in Kentucky, and it runs until 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. It was the first flash flood emergency to be issued. Law enforcement reporting back that several roads had standing water on them. It was making it for a very difficult situation for people living in this area. And then that flash flood emergency quickly followed up to the north, closer to Richmond, and then stretched across those multiple counties: Lincoln County, Madison County, Kentucky, Mercer County, Kentucky, where we now have, water coming up to homes in some of these flood reports over the last 3 hours, and some utility garages that are halfway submerged in those flood waters, along with homes that are surrounded by flood waters as well. So it's a really active active day. And I expect that as we continue on into the afternoon, not only are we going to be dealing with that persistent flood risk with these storms redeveloping, but if you look ahead, that damaging wind risk and that severe thunderstorm potential. Here we are by about 6 o'clock. Kind of the batch of energy that we're watching through Kentucky right now will continue to drive through the mountains. We see that jump over the way and a little bit more reinitiation and establishment across North Carolina, South Carolina, North Georgia, but we're still not done yet. With that stalled boundary, enough heating and enough moisture is going to continue to pop up those showers and storms and move back through that zone. So Nashville expecting through about 6 to midnight tonight, we'll see another round of very heavy rain, that damaging wind threat on top of a damaging wind threat that will continue to open up closer to the mid-Atlantic coast as we head through the next several hours in tandem. So as we continue through tonight, we see finally a big sweep into the afternoon. Here we are tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Still eyeing up the mid-Atlantic zone, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina for the repeated rounds of rain, but we do get finally a break. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel with all of this rain in Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, as we head into the remainder of our weekend, where finally we see this energy kind of swipe its way off the coast, but then that brings in another whole host of challenges. And I think another big danger too is to consider that, yes, we're going to see the rain end by the time we head into this time tomorrow, but that does repeat the risk too of now we're recovering and we've got a lot of dangerous heat building in to replace this rain as we move through each day next week. So we're following this growing flood threat across Kentucky right now on the I-75 corridor. We have 2 flash flood emergencies that have been issued, and they run through about 5:15 in the evening. And we'll continue to bring you these storm reports and images as we get them in. But we're following more on your Fox Weather Live afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We've got another hour coming up right after the break.